Hello everybody. This is like my fourth try at doing this video. I'm having a hard time speaking in front of the camera. I'm working on it, but I don't seem to be able to change my apprehension towards the camera. So I'm gonna do my best. I filmed this earlier today and I literally was editing it just now and I'm like, I'm speaking gibberish. I'm not getting my point across. So here I am on my phone, in my bathroom, in my robe, okay? So, and I guess there's a certain amount of realness to this video, so enjoy the realness. So today I'm going to talk about something that I think is pretty important and is like a reality check for anybody. I saw that there was quite a bit of views on my how to be an aesthete video, and I'm very proud of that, and I like that people are gravitated towards that on my channel because it's what my channel's about at its core. And I wanted to talk about the downside of being an aesthete because it's a pretty heavy one, even though it may not seem like that to the naked eye, but I need to let everyone know that like being an aesthete is an incredibly irrational and illogical way to live. It is a relatively unsustainable mindset unless you're capable of like balancing irrationality and being logical at the same time, you know, this kind of fantasy versus reality dichotomy. It can be really depressing because being an aestheticism in itself is taking the whole wide world and narrowing it down to a needle point of what you desire and what your idea of the world is, or what you want it to be, for that matter. And because of that, you're leaving so much out. You're leaving out the ugly gunk that fucks with your vibe, okay? And especially if you are in a relationship with a person that does not see eye to eye with you on this, that's pretty much what this video is for those people. This kind of elopes with artistic people. I've seen this kind of backlash towards artists, and I empathize with artists on such a high standpoint because artists are aesthetes. They portray their aesthetic on, like, they make it, you know, on some kind of physical plane. Being an aesthete is, for most other people, is a way to kind of hoard your philosophy and your ideas around you. But they're, you know, they see the world in a very specific way that has all the rules and no rules at the same time, and I can't explain it better than that. Being an aesthete is taking away the rules of reality in order to insert your deeply austere rules on what your fantasy is. And that's why art can succeed so well, is because it does not have boundaries in the real world. And that's why a lot of times when art gets extremely controversial, there's a very heated discussion about it, or you know, artists get a lot of backlash and are either misunderstood or, you know, ran out of town about it because their idea isn't coming across in the real world because of usually morals. And morality is a huge thing that I need to talk about. being an aesthete, not so much in like the general surroundings, you know, like the way your house looks or your clothes or your activities that you participate in, but I'm talking more so in the idea that this kind of Oscar Wilde idea that anything that's beautiful goes. That is not a realistic way to live life, but it is, you can live it to a certain extent. And I will live it to the fullest extent that I can, until I exhaust it. But I also have to check myself all the time and tell myself that I need to be a better human being, because I don't think that aestheticism at its core is a shallow philosophy, but if you let it run free and run wild, you're going to become the shittiest person on planet Earth, because it's a very selfish way of living. I'll admit it. And that's not always a bad thing, because in selfishness, you derive a great amount of concentration and focus and a very fulfilling aesthetic. But when it comes to social relationships with other people, if they don't get it, or if they don't think you are an ethical person because of your aesthetic, or they think that you're deeply irrational because of the way that you want to live your life, it becomes a problem, and it can diminish an aesthete. In my experience, will put aestheticism over emotions, over realistic expectations of the world, and will put, will lock themselves, and aesthete will lock themselves in their world away from reality for as long as they possibly can, just so that they don't have to deal with it, and that they can just, wallow in their philosophies all day long if they want to. And see, I still have trouble speaking, but yeah, I just really needed, I think that's the best way to explain it. And lastly, this idea of like people trying to understand your aesthetic, people that genuinely care about you and like want to please you and do wonderful things for you, and they like think they got you, and like they end up doing whatever it is, and they didn't. They missed it by a landslide or even by a small smidgen, and because of how like austere the rules are for an aesthete, it's such a bummer, and it like can make you feel like nobody in the world gets you, and it can be a bummer. It's not like it's something to be worried about, because no one is ever really going to understand you and get you, to the fullest extent that you desire, but, of course it'd be nice to find someone that got it, that understood it, that you could share your experience with. And you find yourself like just being disappointed in acts of like love or admiration from other people, and you're just like, what, you have to like really check yourself and be like, what is wrong with me? Like, that is so just inhuman. Being an aesthete, I've wanted to say this the whole video, I just now remembered. Being an aesthete can be an incredibly dehumanizing way of life too. It is selfish, it is irrational, it is illogical, and it can be very inhuman. But it's awesome. And if you keep yourself, above water, and you have a set of morals in the real world, and you discipline yourself and keep yourself in check, you should be fine. But I said earlier, if you let it run wild, you're going to become a really shitty person very quickly, because of your disappointment and your you know, vile emotions towards others because they don't fit into your perfect little world. It's elitism, and that's not great, you know? So, yeah, this is a raw as hell video. I am in my bathroom, okay? It seems like every time I talk about an aesthete video, I'm in like the most unaesthetic possible place, but here we are. I just wanted to say that. I'm not editing this or anything, okay? And yeah, I just wanted to be real for a second and just like let people know that this is a fantasy-based lifestyle. So discipline yourself, as I have to, as everyone else has to, you know, as the whole world should, in general, with everything. So, okay. It is like, I think, 3 in the morning. Not unusual for me, but I was definitely supposed to be done with this a long time ago. Anyway, all right, that's it. I think I said everything that I wanted to say, how I wanted to say it. Okay, so I hope you guys have a great rest of it. I don't know what time it is anywhere because I live in the middle of the ocean. So have a great rest of your day or evening or midday, whatever. And like and subscribe if you liked this video. Let me know if you want more content like this. Yeah. And I will definitely see you next week. Goodbye.